Okay, welcome. Today I'd like to just offer a little reflection about life has challenges and how that stems into COVID-19. The lockdown is also a challenge. So enjoy. So today I wanted to just talk a little bit about this perspective about challenges. I can see differing things really about the lockdown and about this COVID-19. And for some, it's a real challenge at the moment, struggling. I'm hearing struggles in relationships, increasing domestic violence, increasing suicide rates. And on another level, there's lots of positives as well. Real connection with nature, really people taking stock of what they love. And yeah, I want to talk a little bit about challenges today, because I feel that's partly my work, and also, I've just published my first book, which has come out last week, which is How to Survive and Thrive in Challenging Times. And it's basically a story of my journey through working in the city in London, having a breakdown, getting into drink, drugs, essentially being homeless, and then ending up in a Buddhist monastery, and my journey since then. So it's lots of practices, techniques, tools, exercises. And in there I basically talk about this idea about challenges, and I feel what we're going through now at the moment with COVID-19, with the lockdown, is a challenge potentially for some. And what I want to speak on is just how we can change our perspective, some of the tools that I talk about in my book. So the first thing really is reframing this. So I can see sometimes that people feel that when I get here, I won't have any more challenges. When I get here, I won't get any more challenges. And I remember speaking to one of the monks I lived with. I think I might have spoken about this in the book. And I was saying to him, does it get easier? Because there I was in my 20s, I was having a breakdown, very unhappy. And I thought, I hope it gets easier. And he said, no, it doesn't get easier. What happens is you just have more space, you have more tools to deal with the challenges which arise. So for me, this lockdown, parts of it have been great, but parts of it has brought up a lot of challenges. For me, this has been since 2007, 2008, I started to write this. This is 12 years in the making. And, it's very personal. Some really personal stories in there where I really mess up. And I've had resistance to this going out there for that reason. I might upset people. And yet I've done this, and as I've done this through the lockdown, it's felt right. This is the right time for this to come out. Challenges have arisen. And like with the monk that I spoke to while in the monastery in my 20s, it's not that I don't have challenges now. It's just that I have more space or more tools to deal with these things. And so it is for you with the COVID-19, the lockdown. It's not that there won't be challenges, that this is not going to be a challenge. It's like just reframing it on one level. Reframing it so it's like, this is a challenge, but there's also lots of positives. Reframing it so it's like, this is actually a good thing. So I do a lot of men's work, and I work a lot with ex-boarding school people, and I also work with the archetypes quite deeply. And one of the kind of teachings really about the king, the sovereign, and that's male or female, when we step into leadership, it's often uncomfortable. And I was talking on my podcast, the first podcast, might have even been the second, the fourth podcast, speaking to Rod Boothroyd, who's the author of The King, Magician, Warrior, Lover. And in that, he said about, when we step up to lead, to put ourselves out there, then often it can be challenging. And this for me is partly stepping into the sovereign, into the leader, the king energy. It's not easy, and not everybody is willing to do that work and step into that leadership, to go, okay, this is uncomfortable, but I'm going to do it. In the past, we as men and women would have been guided by the elders how to do it, how to deal with challenges. We would have had support, and yet, especially with something like the lockdown, there isn't that support. So if you're going through challenges, one of the things I really recommend is get support, reach out. And that might be joining a group. So for men, I run a men's group at the moment. It's free and it's online. It's every 2 weeks, and the next one's on the 4th of June. And, it's a chance for you to connect to other men. There's lots of other different online groups. Last night I went to a Mankind Project, which is a rites of passage charity. I went to an event run by them. And it's a chance for me to connect, to do my work, And I think that sometimes we think, when I've done a certain amount of work, when I've got through a certain amount of challenges, then it's easy. No, I still go through challenges. It's just I have more space, more tools. I have a bigger support network, friends. I'm about to speak to a friend in half an hour to connect, another teacher. So this is the first thing, reach out for support. Second thing is, what was I going to say? The other thing is, it's kind of keeping a practice going. So, this is what I teach my clients and the classes I run, is the importance of having a daily practice. And we practice when life is really great, the sun is shining, health is great, and we practice when life is not good. And what I personally noticed in the monastery, when I had a daily practice, even when life was really difficult, because I kept that routine going, I was able to move through. It was like I was able to carry that momentum through. So that's why it's just keep your practice going, and that might be half an hour morning, half an hour in the evening. It might be meditation, breath work. It might be some other forms of practices that you do to really help you to stay centered. And the final point I just wanted to talk about is about reframing. No, that's not relaxing into it. If we can breathe, come back to the breath and just go, this is what I feel. I feel uncomfortable. I can relax with it. And this is okay. Often what we do is we feel that tension, that challenge, and we try to sort it out. It's like, actually, sometimes if I'm in a challenge, I think I was feeling a bit challenged at the weekend, I just started to read a children's book, cartoons. It's like that brings me into my joy, it's like, And the abbot often used to say to me when I was in the monastery in my 20s, read Calvin and Hobbes. So I would. So I really connected to that energy. So that's essentially it for today. Final bit really is, this is my book. I will leave a link down below. It's on Amazon. I will be putting the PDF and the Kindle version up in the next few days, and so keep an eye out for that. You can buy it in US, Europe, in the UK as well, I think all the way to Japan and other places like that. So it's about 270 pages, 10 chapters, and lots of exercises and lots of different bits of information about my own journey. So if you have any questions, please do leave them below, and again, stay safe and be well. Okay, take care.